Hello, dear friends in Hamilton. It was an amazing time when we met on Zoom call last week. And now we hope you had a wonderful Easter time. We do. We had our families over, and now we are back on track working on our City Vision further things. And we want to release this recording from last week that you can reflect, go back, and we will share our files with you. And my colleague Naz will keep communicating with you while I will be on my mission trip in Pakistan. May God bless you and see you soon again.
So is it all right, Don, if I just show a few slides?
Please, yeah,
Because
please.
I
And
think,
yeah, and same time we will have recording in case some
Yeah,
people disappear. We can send it later.
excellent.
now you and Art and Jordan and Barbara, you might already have a fantastic, um, I'll use business terms, which doesn't always land very well in the Christian circuit, pitch deck, but storytelling set of slides that enable the story to be understood easily and quickly. And it may be that you already have something, Don, that's better than we have, or you may come up with some great things. And I say to you, oh, can we borrow yours? I'll show you how the story is unfolding. And the thing that I would say is there's no way are we coming along with a packaged box saying, we've got it right, we're doing it here, it's all worked brilliantly. We are learning as we go, which I think is what discipleship is all about. And the whole issue of how do you disciple a city, I've not found, apart from the book, a book out there that tells you very much. We are learning in this unfolding from experiences like Daniel might have had already as he works with the leaders in Portsmouth. You, Don, we're learning from each other, and very much a core value of what City Vision about is learning. It's about the evolution of a learning community where we've all got something, none of us know it all. What have we got to share? And one of the sadnesses for me is that while all the good church leaders out there who love their people undoubtedly and are there to help them to learn to become active disciples, fruit bearing disciples of Jesus, they themselves have never been taught how people learn. And I think you, Don, in the founding of the university, certainly, and probably Barbara, perhaps others here, Vahag, coming from a learning environment, but a lot of people don't know how people learn. And I think it's so easy to take that again. Wynell comes from a learning that how people learn and the modeling of Jesus can be one of those assumptions I think that we can make and trip up because actually we're not doing it the way that he said we learn, just as a point of principle. Anyway, I'm a little bit off. Let me see if I can find what it was that I was going to try and show you. That looks fairly promising. Right, now I've lost you all,
Looks
so I
good.
can't see you, but I'm trusting that you're still there. I think you've all heard my message that this is
Yeah.
all work in progress. Naz, if everybody disappears and I end up talking to myself here, would you please ring me on my mobile?
Yes. But T, if you do want to see people, you just need to click the three dots when you're sharing screen at the top and go video panel.
Oh, hold on.
Like we can see, yeah, I can see everyone.
It says hide video panel, but you're already hidden to me, you see, so that's what's confusing me.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Okay.
continue. Just ring me if you all
Looks
Yeah.
good. It looks good, and I can see everybody. I think everyone can see everyone.
right. I'm putting together because I think you do this at our age, Don. You start to say, what have I learned, and how can I put together into learning packets that other people's might want to learn about? And so I'm in the process. Not all of these lead to a deck that's in here, so I'm putting this together as we go. And just as an aside, just to see whether this works or not. It does. That bit worked anyway. Now I've got to work out whether I can get back to where I was. So one of the things that we do is a study tours, which is how we came to be in Canada the first time with Brian, bless him, and in Toronto. And that was we brought about 15 people on a study tour. And then we did it a few years later, but unfortunately, I'd just come out of a cancer operation, so I couldn't go, although we'd organised it. Did the same with that in Amsterdam. About 20 leaders went across for a long weekend in Amsterdam. We are currently setting on up later in the year for Stavanger in Norway. Been dialogue with the leaders there. And why do we do that? Well, going out as a group, I think any Outward Bound or MIT or any other management learning center would say going together as a group away to another place does something more than just give you information. There's something on the relational side that, so I've got to work out, will this take me back? Oh, hallelujah. So that's one of the things that we do. And I'm hoping that we'll run one later this year in Norway. And it will be tremendous if early next year, Don, see how this all unfolds, we were able to bring a team back again to Canada. And again, should it happen at some stage, there's a team from Canada would like to come to the UK. That's something, again, we can talk about. Could we host? Could we organise? Put you in touch with? I'm amazed at the way that first Canada visit has still impacted the people who came so much more than you'd have thought one weekend briefly happening would have done. So where do I want to go? I'll dive in here because I was putting this together. I'm not sure whether I like these graphics or not. So Naz, you can see everybody's faces and the Ava. If you could do this really wasn't a thumbs up, thumbs down, but if you could watch their faces and if they grimace, remind me, don't use that slide again. And if they smile or whatever. But this was just, I found this useful as a graphic, and I put different cities behind. Here is something that's vaguely symbolic of Wakefield, but I did Portsmouth. I don't know whether I showed it, Daniel, when I was down with you, to say my understanding is that we are the watchmen on the walls, the leaders in a city. And when the relationships are down, there may be the strong churches like those towers, but they're not connected. The walls are down. We really open ourselves in a way to where that which is not good can come into the city. And the rebuilding of the walls of relationships, which you are doing there really well, Don and the team, strengthens that. So evil is far less able to come into the city. But we're looking
Can you
after.
advance that slide, Tony? I'm not sure. I've just see the first slide.
Yeah, I think so. We don't see
There we-
any flipping. Yeah.
Okay, there we
don't see
go.
any of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't see the slide of towers.
Oh,
We didn't-
right. So there you go. That's brilliant. In that case, I will.
That's cool.
Whoops.
Now we can see your side with other
Sure.
slides.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
It's a
big
very
one.
it's a very unprofessional way to have the slides down the side and the slide in the middle.
Okay.
But I'm going to
That's
do it
good.
anyway. That at least I'll know
Yeah, where we are.
what you can see.
Looks good.
So I was just bobbing around there. I don't know whether you saw.
No, this wasn't.
Okay.
this one.
Did you see?
Just first slide we saw all.
Okay. Is anything happening here?
Yeah, we can see this slide. Fractured
I-
cities.
No, but you can't see Norwegian. Right. Okay. I'll do it. I'll have to go out and in.
There,
So,
that's
when I was-
Norwegian there. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was talking about Norway, that was the slide I was showing. Right. I'm just going to pop backwards and forwards this way. That's the way of doing it. So I don't know whether I showed this slide when I was down with you, Daniel, but I did. I had Portsmouth in the background there. So basically, I was trying different graphics. It's wonderful what you can put into ChatGPT now and give it a prompt and say, give me a graphic that looks like this. So this is rather dramatic, but basically, without Jesus, ultimately, things are going to get worse and worse on the left, and we are about bringing light and healing and Jesus to the center on the right. How understanding our cities and the component parts of a city. Is that too small, Don, or can you read?
That's good. I think
Yeah.
you can read
these
it for
are-
sure.
So as we know, cities are complex. There's a lot of moving parts. The interactivity is different on each one. But I believe we live in a time when the church doesn't understand enough the moving parts of the city and how it works. And it's very hard to see something changed that you don't understand. And I would put it to any group of leaders in a city, it begs the question, what do you need to know about your city that you don't. If you're going to go in, and I'm taking this to the extreme, you go into the chief executive of the city and he says, do you know how many people live in this city? And we say, no. He says, do you know what the unemployment rates are? He says, no. Do you know what the rate of marital breakdown or well-being indicate? No. It's harder for him or her to believe that we have something to say. And again, I think there is a learning curve on learning about our city. Our basic premise is that however much we love, a fractured church cannot heal a fractured city. It can't be done. A fractured church, for all the love that is within the church, by using the Orthodox or Catholic or Anglican historic roots where we had sins of omission, when the church is not one, somewhere in there is the sin of omission of the new commandment being broken unwittingly for all sorts of reasons. We don't agree with your theology, or historically you've let us down, or you rely too much on this or that. But basically, the heart of everything is what Jesus taught, Jesus himself. And the new commandment was central to his teachings. The cross expresses that, you all know that. And John 17 was his prayer. And so where we are on common ground is how do we heal that? Out of my 40 years plus consulting experience, and as I said to you, Don, and others, if you come up with a better one, I'll drop this, we'll have yours. But basically, there is a process. God is a God of process, where pretty much all churches start off in some sort of silo. It can be a journey for them to become a group and learn how much more can come synergistically out of being as a group. But number 3, a group is not a team. Any sports outfit will tell you that. But we are spiritual people, and number 3, a team is not the same as for a spiritual team. Don has certain gifts that are different from Barbara. Barbara has different gifts to others. And this growth journey, so that we can actually play to the way that God has wired us, I believe, will start to really separate and enable things to happen. And then we move to friends. And again, when Jesus said, I call you friends, they didn't know at the time what Judas was going to turn out like. And that includes Judas. How do we love as friends each other when it might be, I don't actually like you? But beyond that, Jesus says, but I want you to learn how to be friends and know each other's kids and their birthdays and what it is that keeps them awake at night. And why don't you eat together, which we do in the Lord's Supper, but I think that was meant to be far more rounded than that. There's a journey here. It doesn't suddenly go through. This can take years to go through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we actually start to drop the barriers and start to become mutual counselors, where I start to share some of the deeper things that I carry on my shoulders with Don, he does with me, because trust has come out of that friendship. And from that, we move on to, and clearly this is one of the wonders of AI and asking it to produce a slide for you. It produces 2 number 6s. And then you go on to number 7. What's it mean to be a spiritual consultant? Well, I don't want that business stuff here. Yes, you do. God is a consultant. It comes from the word counselor, and the Holy Spirit is the counselor. So how do we learn to consult? What are the lessons there that we can bring to city transformation? And should we become a local government advisor group where they value, we've earned a seat at the table, they value us so much, they start to ask for our wisdom and our prayer and involve us. So it's a little bit there. So it gets to the point then that wholeness comes to both sides. We don't compromise, but actually we impact the city and help it into the destiny that God had. They're all looking in the city, and the leaders, the good leaders who are not yet Christians, they're looking for the kingdom. They just don't realize it. They want peace, joy, thriving, prosperity, health, well-being, but they don't realize that that can only be found in the kingdom. So here we are. I could have changed that picture to Hamilton, and if it's a useful picture, I'll change it and send you it, Don, and you can do what you with it. And basically, just pictorially, I'm very simplistically, graphically, what are we looking at? We're looking at the leaders in the city becoming the strength and the protection for the city, where they grow and there's more and more of them. They don't all wear dog collars. They did in this AI generated picture. Because they're there to defend the city and enable the kingdom to come. As I said, Donna, forgive me, I love my pretty pictures, but they just, there's something in there, I think, if we were looking for it. So Yeah, all very well and good, Tony, but what do we do? And basically, this is where you've seen before. I've shared it with you, the good old consultants picture, because process consultants will always come out with something like this. And this is all about how do we go on this journey from being individuals to a group, to a team, to a spiritual team, to friends, to mutual counsellors, to a consulting team, to a spiritual cabinet, as I would call it. We see this at a national level. We have in the UK a twin system of government where we have the House of Commons, the lower parliament, but we have the House of Lords. It was there to be a spiritual hand on the moral and spiritual nature of the country. That's what the House of Lords was there for. Sadly, it's drifted away often and isn't like that. But what I want to see, and I believe it's what I read, this is how I understand it. If you look at Genesis 22:17, we often stop where Abraham is blessed by God because he didn't withhold his only son. We stop there, but the verse goes on, and your heirs and offspring will sit at the gates of the city. The gates is the local government. We somehow go blind at that. We are meant to be not over to serve and to bless, but to be the spiritual wisdom and influence that brings health and salt and light to the city. But we have to earn a seat at the table. Going back to my earlier point, if we don't speak the city's language, that's much, much harder. So looking, and Eva did some great work. If I can find it, Eva, if I can go to the back here of just these one or two slides. It's not actually a 300 slide presentation. It's lots of short presentations. I've just put them. There we are. So looking at those 8 steps that I would say is the City Vision way. And guys, if you find a better way of doing it where you are, great. If all this does is sow some seeds where you think, like that, don't like that, we can do it better. You do it your way. You do it. God's called you to Hamilton, us just to be your servants. But it is a journey. And what might it entail? As I put there, learning about the city. What do we need to learning about other cities? What they're doing. God hasn't put all the answers to city transformation into one city. About the transformation process. The world knows very well about the change process. The church hasn't always been taught it. And city study tours I mentioned as just one thing. But going through those, we work alone. To what extent? And I think, Don, if I could offer a thought to you and your colleagues there, this would be very much a helpful thing for you to debate and discuss with others in your city. Jesus said, you tithe mint and dill and cumin, but you don't attend to the grave and the weighty matters. And he went on to talk about mercy and justice. What are the grave and weighty matters that you leaders in Hamilton should be discussing? What is on God's heart? He's saying, why are you talking about mint and dill and cumin? What is breaking my heart for Hamilton is X, Y, Z. And this question is a very powerful one. To what extent is the impact of the kingdom limited by working alone in silos? So that's one. Working together as a group of churches and Christian organizations would like to have more impact for the kingdom by collaborating than by working in silos. What kind of things could churches do together? So another question, and Don and you and your colleagues, if you come up with a better one, you ask your questions. These are just offering thoughts to you. But it's a powerful question. What kind of thing could churches do together that would amplify kingdom impact? Happy to send you this little set of slides, Don, if it helps you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Wonderful.
3, working together as a team. A group isn't the same as a team. The world knows this, and so does God. Jesus chose 12, not 1. In what ways will a collaborating team always have more impact than one individual working alone? Now, God breaks his own rules, and sometimes he does choose the one. But overall, it seems that teams is a major part of the wisdom of God, and that isn't a group. A spiritual ministry team, play it to its gifts. Now, the whole issue of gifts can be a sensitive subject, but a team isn't the same as a spiritual team where individual gifts are being played to. How does a team of Christian leaders move from being a team in a worldly sense to a team playing according to spiritual gifting? In what ways is this better than worldly team thinking? Again, some key questions, but it's now been a well-traveled road that many churches and many leaders have gone through. How do we identify gifts? Either through a 360-degree interview, through a spiritual gifts questionnaire, through the fruit test, through the joy test. There are a number of ways that we can start to get a handle on what has actually God gifted this person to do, and why don't we use them in the team in this way and expose them to you be able to use that gift more. There's a lot more I could say about that, but I won't right now. Becoming friends. When Jesus called us friends, to what extent did he expect us to be friends with each other? In the light of his new commandment, are our leader-to-leader friendships based on a worldly model, I'll have these people I like, or what he wants? If the answer is a worldly model, what would he want us to do about it? And the answer might be nothing. That may be your collective view. But I think he was, there was a bit of friction in that group, and Peter and John and the others, and they didn't always get on. And it was, but I still expect you to be friends with each other, guys. Becoming mentors. The more we become biblical friends, the more trust and respect will grow, and the more we will lower our guards. As we do, we will shoulder each other's burdens more, stress will reduce, and our time will be used more effectively. How many burned out and stressed and stretched leaders are there who it's unnecessarily so because God wants leaders to be close enough to put their arms around each other? Is this realistic? Is this what he wants? And I'm being quite serious, Don. If you and your colleagues come up with better questions, let us have them.
Sure.
We will use yours. Becoming consultants. I would say spiritual consultants. God is the ultimate consultant. There's a bit of stuff there about where the word consultant comes from.
Okay.
Roman usage, consigliere, also mean to care for or to look after the well-being of. Are we willing to learn to be good consultants? And what can we learn from Nehemiah? At one of these get-togethers, Don and colleagues, if you want me to, I will share with you how I understand, as somebody who spent his whole life in consulting, the consulting principles that I see in the life of Nehemiah. They're beautifully displayed there. Happy to do that at some stage.
Excellent.
And number 8, a spiritual advisory team to city government. Does God have a vision for you to become a spiritual team in Hamilton of wise counsellors to serve and bless your city at a civic level as spiritual consultants? If so, how are you going to get there without the right process? I'll stop there and pause for thought and comment and questions. And I'm conscious with an eye to time that you have plenty of time to think and respond or talk about. We're here for you, Don.
Yeah. Thank you.